Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video what we want to do is to basically create a setup for Nuxtjs with UIkit. And I believe I don't not necessarily believe, there are actually a way in the Nuxt doc that actually shows how to do the setup, but there are some gotchas with it, and to be honest, Nuxt does not have the best support for UIkit as far as I can see. They don't even have a page for it, which is something that I'd like to change because UIkit is actually pretty awesome. It's lightweight. It's actually, I think, from my perspective or from my benchmarks, it's more performant than the Tailwind CSS that they push, and I don't know why they don't have better support for it. So this is actually coming off a project that I had created, which is called which I have on here. It's not necessarily on the Fedorae education, it's actually just on the Fedorae what's it called, organization. But this is it right here, and I actually had have something of a little post or whatever. It's kind of like a blog just showing how to set up, how to configure for better support, so you can basically read through all of this. It needs a little bit of editing. I realized I actually made a mistake here, but this was actually from the 2.6.18 version, and I think they're at 3.7.2 version now. So we're just gonna look at that, and if anything has actually changed from that point. So that's about that. So what I want to show you also is that usually Nuxt has their support or their modules and their subdomain. So if I go to nuxt.js.org or uikit.nuxtjs.org, you'll realize that we get this not found request. But if I go to something like Tailwind CSS, you realize that we will find this page because it has documentation ready for it, but they don't have any docs for UIkit itself. If I also go to github.com/nuxt/nuxt.js, so this is the actual framework here. And if we go to examples, you'll realize that we have a UIkit example here, which basically goes through the setup. It's actually pretty simple. Arguably, it's very simple to do the setup. Unfortunately, see, they still give us this live demo, but it actually does not work. So that is something I really wish we could change. I think I could actually contribute to this. I may actually fork this and try to do it, but I'm not necessarily the best at documentation, so that's for one. But I'll actually try and do that, and if anyone is interested in doing that, please do. It would be great. But let's get right into the setup, and you can actually just grab this from their repository, but it's quite old, so you may have to do a lot of configs. But you will have this repository as well, and the next one I'm actually going to do, because I'm actually going to upgrade this as well. So let's get started. So open my terminal first thing, and we're going to cd into the dev folder, projects, and I think I have a YouTube in here, so we're just going to drop it right in here. No other subdirectory or anything like that. So we're going to do a yarn create. So yarn create Nuxt app, and we're just going to give it a name. So we're going to give it the same name as this one here. So we're going to be Nuxt UIkit. And meanwhile this creates, we can just go ahead and go to getuikit.com. And one of the funny thing about it is that UIkit, the UIkit website, if I remember correctly, is actually built, well, yeah, some parts of it is actually built in Vue. It's not necessarily picking up here, but some parts of it is built in Vue. So I don't really get why they don't support UIkit as much as I would expect them to. Because if I go to github.com UIkit site. I actually contributed to this here. So you can see that this is actually built with Vue. A lot of it has some amount of Vue in it. Well, a lot of it, most of it, 62.9% is a whole lot, arguably. So let's go ahead and continue on this. I'm just gonna go for pretty much all the defaults. You can see they have all of these. Some of these I don't even know them because they're not necessarily all that popular to me. But they have them and they don't have UIkit, which is quite sad. So let's go ahead and get all the defaults here. Let's go for, let's leave the defaults and no Git for this one. We're gonna upgrade this at a later. Date. You can copy this one because this has more structure, and I don't want to just create a new repository. What I may do is actually just fork this over to the Fedorae education website. So I could actually just fork that over to it. So that's that. So let's just get this. Wait until this installs. Alright, there we go. So that's installed, and arguably there's actually two ways I want to look at how we can configure UIkit in this, and one has to do with getting the best out of the icons, and the other one is just normal default setup. So let's go ahead and open this in Atom first, and then we can do a yarn dev. Alright, so here we go. It's opened, and we have pretty much nothing in here, no configs. In the index is pretty much just this little what we get by default here, which is just the basic app that you'll see when this loads. I'm actually not gonna do any amount of configs until this loads, so we're just gonna go through what we have in here. So nothing much. So we have just the pages, the index. I already showed that. Static only has the favicon or fav icon. Store doesn't have anything, and in the package.json we don't have anything except for core.js and Nuxt. Actually, so let's open this up. And there we go. Our default Nuxt app, but it's taking a while to actually load the style. So there we go. That's it right there, and that's pretty much it. So I actually shouldn't have run this before, because I actually need to add UIkit in here. So we can do a yarn add UIkit. So this is probably the easiest way to install it, which is pretty fast. If we go to the installation, it's one of the ways you could actually download it, and this is another thing that I'm actually going to show later on in the video. So there we go. Where is it? Yeah, I don't see it, but I think there's a yarn install option in there. Yeah, here we go. Yarn add UIkit. So you can read the docs to understand everything. You can actually download the pre-built JavaScript, which is one of the things on the CSS, which is one of the things that we're going to basically look at. You can actually clone the repository as well, or you can just use the seed. Basically, yeah, the CDN, which is what I believe I started out using. It's pretty cool as well. You can actually use that as well, and just leverage that. So it's installed, and now we can do a yarn dev again and let that run in the background. So you can see we have UIkit 3.1, well 3.7.2, which is awesome, the latest version. And now what do we want to do now? Basically, I'm going to show you the default, the recommended setup. The recommended setup is actually, I'm going to do, I believe, Control A. This should give me a new, or is it, it's just A, it's just A. So A should give me a new folder, but that's not what I want actually. I want a new file. Oh, it's a Shift A. So if I do A now, should give me a new file. So plugins is the file that we want, the folder we're going to create in here, and the file that we're going to create is UIkit. or we could just do UIkit.js, and then we could set the server-side rendering to false, because this is a plugin that actually only works on the client. But because of the upgrade with Nuxt, we could actually do a .client, and I can't spell this thing. So .client.js, and this should automatically pick it up in the Nuxt.config file to show that it's something that it's a plugin that only works on the client side. In here, all we're going to do is to import. Let me see if this has finished. There we go. That's good. So we're going to import UIkit from UIkit, and we're going to import the icons as well. So we're going to UIkit icons from, and let me see if I can remember exactly. It's UIkit /this/js/UIkit icons. I believe that is it, but it won't hurt to check actually. Here we go, and it's in this JS, and we have UIkit icons. Perfect. So we're actually getting the correct thing. Let me just scroll this back up, and then from here we can use the icons. We can use this. So it's UIkit.use, and we can use the icons in here, and that's that. Let's save this. It's gonna refresh, but nothing should actually change, because we need to also configure this in the Nuxt config. First thing that we want to do is to actually go to UIkit/this again to grab the CSS, and this is going to be in CSS, and it is just going to be UIkit. I don't think I have to put the extension, do I? Not that I remember of. And in the plugins, we're going to put an object, and it's going to be source. We can just say we're going to go to the source here. Actually, it's best to use the dot in here. I believe, if I remember correctly, actually best to use a dot, and we're going to do plugins/UIkit.client.js, and I mean we could put the extension. I don't think it will hurt. I want to believe that this is correct, but it won't hurt to just check again. So yeah, we have a UIkit.css, so we are in the clear. So I can basically save this now. It will refresh the whole application, and then we can, after that it has completely refreshed, then we can leverage UIkit. Alright, this will refresh. Alright, so nothing should actually change. Let us now go into this tutorial component. Let me bring this over a bit. So this will now be our Nuxt UIkit application. And we can now start to do some configs. So margin top, we could actually say UK margin top. We could specify a certain amount. This is UK margin top. We could also do this as well. So UK UIkit UK, that was margin top as well, and UK margin padding top as well. And this probably is going to mess this up real badly, but we're just doing this as an example. I think we can do UK justify center. I don't remember exactly. I can't tell if I've ever used this before. I know that we have position center, but I don't remember the justify. but for the most part we're just testing this out and just to show you that it actually works. So we can do UK padding. Why do I keep using UIkit? It's UK padding, and that was top, right? So let's just test this out. I don't think it really matters all that much. So save this. And this is actually Tailwind CSS that they're importing, which is actually cool. I've never really done this before, but it's something that I may actually think about or consider doing. It's actually pretty cool. I've always wondered. I never really take any notice of that. But you can see nothing really has changed that much. What I'm gonna do is actually change this into a UK card. Let's see here. I'm gonna remove all of this style and see what happens. The default styling. So we're just gonna show you that the UIkit should be working in here. So you can see that this flexes some way. So you can do a UK text center, and let's see what happens when we do that. There we go. Everything is now center aligned, and maybe not the best way to do that. Let's see here. We would want to get this in a UK card, and we can do a UK card small, so we get that small padding in there. Let's look at that, and I'm not seeing it. Actually not seeing it. I'm gonna add some margin from the top because I don't think that's where it should be, but let's add some margin from the top. And I don't have any IntelliSense for this. I'm gonna get this here. Oh, I made a mistake. This should be this is where I made a mistake. So it should not be text small, it should be card small, or we could just do card default. But we're gonna grab some margin from the top as well. Let's fix that. And I'm still not seeing the card, but let's see what we're doing wrong. Maybe I need to refresh this card, and I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna put this as a default, the default card. Save. Alright, there we go. So now you can actually see the card. It was basically just not at the right place. I'm not sure how clearly you're seeing this, but I could actually just change the background of this to, by saying UK background muted, so we can see the card better. I don't know if it's any better, but I guess that's good enough. Alright, so one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this was because let me get rid of some of this because these are not necessarily needed. Yep. Get rid of those. Let's see where this ends. These need to get rid of one of these. Alright, save this. Get rid of these as well. We don't need these. And in here we can put a div, and I want to put a icon. I believe the way to do this is actually UK icon, and there are a couple ways to do this. Icon is this, I believe, UK. Is it UK? What was it? GitHub. I don't remember it exactly right now. Is it UK? I think it's UK GitHub, or is it just GitHub? I believe. Well, when in doubt, just dock it out, I guess, or just go to the docs. But you can see it's actually correct. So this is our icon. One thing that I've noticed is that if I should hit refresh on this, you see that the icon disappears, which is a problem, and I believe this is because it doesn't get to the JavaScript, or the JavaScript doesn't load fast enough from in the plugin section, because if you remember in here, it actually is grabbing it from here, which is somewhat can be a problem based on the application that you're building. And the way that I had fixed this in this app is to basically pull the JavaScript into the static folder right here, and this worked in this example. This actually worked in this example, so we want to see if we can replicate it to see if it will work again. So we can pretty much get rid of this, so we can get rid of that, and also the plugin we can actually delete this because we're actually going to pull the icons as well. So what we'll do is, because the page loads from the top here, we will basically download the UIkit compiled or pre-built JavaScript, and CSS we won't need the CSS, we only need the JavaScript, and we basically use it in here. So let's go ahead and do that now. So UIkit installation, and we'll basically do the download. So we'll download UIkit. We could actually use it from the CDN as well. So in the event that you want to use it from the CDN, that's just another way that you can actually do this. So let's save this and click that again. So open in another window. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just copy this and just add it to the file, to the folder actually. So static, and if you look over here, you'll realize when I paste it, you'll see the UIkit in here. It's not extracted, so let's go ahead and do the extraction, and you can see that we now extracted it. To make it easier for me, what I'm going to do, we have everything here. We don't need everything because the CSS is we're actually getting the CSS from already, so we won't necessarily need this. The only problem with this is that you're going to have to download this each time for it to actually render the thing the way that you want it to, or this icon the way that you actually want it to. So yeah, so that's just one downfall to it, or one pitfall to this thing. So what I'm gonna do now is just to open a script tag. I believe it's script and not scripts, and in here we can pretty much just go ahead and do add our source, and this is going to be coming from UIkit 3.7.2 and /js/UIkit. We could use either the minified version or the compile, that's the normal one. For me, I prefer to use the minified version. I could just do slash, that's incorrect. So first thing that we want is UIkit.js. So that's the first thing that we want. And so we want the JavaScript, we have to load, actually have to load the JavaScript. And in here, firstly, let's put a comma. And then we can just get the icons. .min. I said I want the minified version, so let me just add the min to this. So let me just add the min, and this should pretty much do the trick. So we're grabbing this and we're grabbing this, and then we can save that, and it should regenerate the whole application. And in the meantime, I'm actually gonna add I think we could add more icons in here. One of my new favorites will now is actually GitLab. For some weird reason, it's actually compelling because of certain reasons, actually, I guess. So let's look at this now. And I'm not seeing. Do they not have a GitLab icon? I could sure that they have. But you can see it's now not changing anything. I don't see a GitLab icon. Why is there no GitLab icon? Let's check that out. I'm pretty sure that they have a GitLab icon. Let's go to the docs. They really need to add a search bar to this thing. I'm actually not seeing a GitLab. There's no GitLab icon, which is really sad. This is extremely sad. Let's just add UIkit, the UIkit icon. So UIkit, and save this. And now you can see we have these icons here. Now if I do a hard refresh, like holding on to shift and then click on this, you'll realize that the icon does not move, which is very convenient when you're using certain when you have certain application that really needs this not to change. Because what happens is that with the other use case, the fact you can realize that this does not go away. It's actually here. The text is actually there, but the icons move. So for instance, let's look at an e-commerce site, because that was what I was creating when I got this issue, was that the shopping cart and the menu and then the search icon and stuff like that, they would disappear, and the text and all is still there, which became a struggle for me, and I really did not like that. So what I had to do was just to use this way of doing it. The only drawback is that you have to keep downloading this thing, and this is why I really want Nuxt and the UIkit just to work together and to get some better support for this thing. But this is just one way of actually combating that small issue that I have. So now if we refresh it, we do not have any issues or anything like that. But if you know that if we should use just this way of doing it, then we'll have that issue. But I mean, I'm just showing you these both ways. You can grab this repository and actually use it. Again, I will actually fork this over to the Fedorae education site, so you can, or page or organization, so you can actually grab it from there as well. There are some updates that needs to be done to this. You can realize that it's 5 months ago. So in those updates, you'll be able to get the latest version of Nuxt and the latest version of UIkit, because you can see that these are actually pretty far off. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So again, if you need this, grab this from this repository, or when I fork it over, you can grab it from there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.